Now I come to the third segment, which has to do with the future of critical theory. One fact about the Critical Theory Archive is that it now contains things that are not just written pieces of paper or even computer printouts, but things in other media, CDs, tapes, that kind of thing. The future of critical theory, I think, is immense, but it is very hard to predict exactly which direction it should go. It certainly shouldn't be just an attempt to repeat the rhetorical reading kind of thing or extend that was the center for work by Derrida, Demand, and myself. I should have mentioned earlier that once the critical theory business was set up at Irvine, there were an immense number of people who were added to the group, not only older people like visitors like Iser and Lyotard, but also a large number of gifted younger specialists in that field. Steve Mailloux, Andrei Warminski, John Rowe, Julia Lupton, Ellen Burt, and others. And their colleagues now are the next step and are closer to what the future of critical theory ought to be than I am. But I think I can mention three factors that will determine the direction critical theory now ought to go. One is the looming crisis of global warming, which we all have to take account of. I'm a collaborator in a book with Tom Cohen and Claire Colebrook, which is called The Twilight of the Anthropocene. As you all know, the Anthropocene is the period during which human beings live and leave their mark on nature in the form of campfire carbon, but also in the form of inscriptions and writings. If climate change goes the way some people think it will, there won't be anybody around any longer to do critical theory. I hope that doesn't happen. The second thing to mention in the future of critical theory is the tremendous change from a print culture to what I call what everybody calls a digitized culture. And that means all sorts of new media. It means Facebook and Twitter and other forms of communication by way of computers, like this video that I'm just this moment making, which wouldn't have been possible some years ago. So that's the second transformation of critical theory, which has to take account of all this. If I had my life to live over again, I'm not sure I wouldn't become a specialist in computer games, video games. And the third transformation is what is a concomitant of the second one, and that is a general globalization of the study in the humanities, so that any future of critical theory will need to be global in span and know lots of languages, and be not just comparative literature, but a kind of super comparative literature. Again, if I had my life to live over again, I would learn Chinese and would be interested in what the Chinese are doing in the area of critical theory. So there are three changes. I wouldn't prescribe what young people who are going in for critical theory ought to do, but I think those are the constraints or the context during which critical theory will develop, and I hope it does splendidly at Irvine in doing that.